In less than 24 hours, Florida is scheduled to execute a man who has spent 33 years on death row. Curtis Windom is convicted of killing 3 people and shooting a 4th back in 1992. The Florida Supreme Court acknowledges Windom's attorney withheld evidence of mental illness and brain damage. He was sentenced to death by an 8-4 jury vote. That's far from the unanimous standard now expected in many states. His daughter, who was an infant at the time of the crime, is now pleading for clemency. Deacon George Kain of the Diocese of Bridgeport, Connecticut, is among those standing up against the practice of capital punishment. He's working to halt Windom's execution. Deacon Kain, thanks for joining us. How and why did you become so involved in this case, and why is it so troubling for you?
Well, I have to be perfectly honest with you. For many years in my law enforcement career, I supported capital punishment. I thought it was a good thing to have. I thought it kept me as a law enforcement officer safe. And as I began to continue to teach at Western Connecticut State University, I did more research on the topic and found out that the death penalty does nothing to help anyone. In fact, it actually causes more harm and more injury to everyone even remotely involved in the case. And we're certainly seeing that here in this case with the victims of the Curtis Windom case, because the victim is his daughter, and she is pleading for clemency. She wants to have a relationship with her father, and her grandchildren want to have a relationship with her father. So it begs the question, if we're really interested in achieving justice for victims, because that's what many people say, we have to have the death penalty for the victims to make them whole. And in this case, the victims are saying that they don't want the death penalty. So why are we doing this, and who are we doing this for?
Yeah, and you mentioned Windom's daughter. She lost her mother in that tragedy and is now asking the state to spare her life. How unusual is this in your experience, and has it had any impact so far in their decision?
The fact that the victim has stepped up and said that they don't want the death penalty? Well, again, I think it's ironic that at the trial and actually from the point of arrest, victims' family members are promised closure. They're promised that they'll feel better when the death penalty is carried out. And here's a case where the victims are saying, please don't do this for me. This is doing nothing for me. It's actually exacerbating my pain. It's re-traumatizing me, and it's causing our family even more harm. So again, it begs the question, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it does beg the question. Now, Florida's governor, who, by the way, identifies as a pro-life Catholic, how do you reconcile that with the state leading the country in executions this year?
Well, it certainly is both a moral, ethical, and spiritual question. And I'm not going to judge Governor DeSantis, but it's very clear that the Catholic Church has changed its perception and perspective on the use of the death penalty. Pope Francis in 2017 came out clearly changing the catechism of the Church, which is the doctrine of our Church, saying that the death penalty is inadmissible, which means that there's no use for it in modern day society. See, the Catholic Church tolerated capital punishment historically because it was the only way to contain an unjust aggressor. But in today's day and age, with modern penal facilities, we don't have to worry about someone who has killing again. They can be put in prison. They can be safely contained in prison. So I think that might be part of the reason why Pope Francis changed the catechism. I also think he realized that as we look at the research that's been done on capital punishment and the fact that it serves no moral purpose and does not reduce crime, there's really no justification for it. So I think that's part of the reason why the Church changed their position.
All right, Deacon George Kain, thanks. We'll be watching as this all plays out. Appreciate your insight.
Thank you for having me.